Hey everyone, welcome back. I am Justin and that is Kyle, and we are the Fantasy Football Upside. Today we're going over the majority of fantasy football players' favorite topic, Kyle, sleepers.
Yeah.
And today, more specifically, we're hitting running back sleepers first. That's what people want to hear.
Yeah.
We're going to give the people what they want, Kyle.
They love running backs. They love sleepers.
I think your brother is a huge fan of sleepers.
He's not. I don't think he targets the running back sleepers as
more
much
wide
as like wide receivers and tight ends. It's not like he's wrong on them and just like taking flyers on dudes. Like he pegged Mark Andrews as a guy who everybody should have drafted last year, and he was. I remember he like tried to offer it up or something to somebody, like offer up a. You can have my sleeper if you give me X. It's like, what is that?
Anyways, we consider a sleeper as an overlooked player by the fantasy football community that will most likely go later in the drafts, kind of like what you just talked about. Mark Andrews went later in the draft. These players will most certainly outplay their ADP and give you a high return on your draft investment. So, Kyle, last week was a huge, massive week for us here at the Upside. We had our 4-part Upside series release, and we finished the week off right with our third mock draft. Yep. Definitely go ahead and check those out in the description below. I'm sure Kyle will have something above. Go ahead and point, Kyle.
Right over here.
Robert,
it'll probably go like this, right out. Yeah.
Right out there?
Yeah.
Good job.
I mean, if you're watching us on mobile, it takes up like the whole top bar, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so there.
Yeah, somewhere up there. Up there, down there. There's a link. Just click it.
So Kyle and I, we created this channel because we want to help you win your league this year. And that starts with the draft. We're going to spend the rest of the summer preparing you to dominate and win your draft to win your league. So if you want to learn how to draft to win and what moves to make during the season, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click that bell if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up or a comment. We're going to respond, and we'll give you a shout out on here as well. So we'll be here to help you every week.
Yeah, we got bored of just winning for ourselves, and we want a new challenge. We want to help you win for you. So it's like meta in some way,
we felt
like we had some winning on our own.
Yeah, we felt like we had some information we wanted to share with the world. So not only on YouTube, but you can also find us via podcast, via a variety of platforms, including Apple, of course, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and our newest platform is Google Podcast. So I guess Google Play is going bye-bye, so that means Google Podcast is coming in, and we should be on there right now as well. So what else do you have for us, Kyle?
It's going bye-bye.
It's going bye-bye.
Definitely a dad with little kids. Yeah.
That's very accurate.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let me have my next drink.
Yeah. All right. So last week we pushed out a ton of content. We're planning on keeping the pace here, guys. We're going to keep it up. We're going to try to keep the episodes short, other than the mock drafts. Obviously, those are going to run a little bit longer, but we've come up with a few ideas that I think are going to help us get the mock drafts to go a little bit faster even still, so that we can get ripped through those things and maybe even put out more than one mock a week that way. We'll see. We're talking about doing a variety of things. One of the things that we're definitely doing is we're working on the Victory Draft Kit. We're going to have that thing here for you in next week or so. It's going to be just in time for fantasy drafting season, and you're going to be able to use all that information during your draft. You're going to be able to use it to dominate your draft, win your draft, so you can win your league. And that's what we want to do, is get you there. And even if you're going to end up buying it early, which I recommend you doing, because the price is going to increase as we start to get closer to the season.
Right.
So you want to buy it as early as possible. But when you do buy it, you'll get every subsequent edition. So as we update our rankings or update our projections or change different things, because let's say a sleeper that we talk about, some of them today, one of them actually I think is going to end up being a starter right off the bat. And so he's not going to be a sleeper by the time season rolls around. But if you're drafting now, he's a sleeper.
Yeah.
So those sorts of changes that we make to our draft kit, you're going to get those changes in each subsequent draft kit edition. All right.
Yeah. Yep.
So without any further delay, let's go ahead and jump into this. Like Justin was saying, A sleeper is just an overlooked player by the fantasy community that is going later in a draft and might not even be getting drafted at all. That is entirely possible. We look at those guys as like a deep sleeper type of thing. So
Yeah.
those are not necessarily guys that you should draft. There's very rare instances that you're finding somebody that nobody's talking about, nobody's drafting, and then suddenly he's the guy that everybody wants to own.
Especially at the running back position.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's not exactly what we're going for here. We're just going for
Yep.
regular sleepers, mid to late round guys who are going to outperform their ADP. You're going to get an extremely high return on that draft investment, and you're going to kill your league because you're handling that. Like, you're getting the value late in the draft that way. And making those wise draft moves in the mid to late rounds is how you win your draft. Okay. So, like he said, we're talking about running backs today. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about wide receivers. That'll be coming to you then. All right. Let's jump in. Who do you have as your first running back sleeper here?
My first running back sleeper is Mr. Ronald Jones, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Fantasy Football Calculator ADP has him as RB33, 11th pick of the 7th round. And just my personal rank,
What
I
round?
have him as
What round?
7th round, 11th pick.
7 miles an hour.
There it is.
There it is.
My personal rank, I have him as RB29 and actually going 3rd pick in the 5th round. So Ronald Jones, he definitely improved from a disappointing rookie year. So last year he totaled 1,003 yards and 6 touchdowns on 203 touches. That got him to 26th best running back in fantasy last year. So once again, a little better than last year or the year before where he had 77 yards on 30 touches as a rookie.
Yeah.
I went ahead and threw this in there. 95th best. So he improved.
Yeah, that works.
That works. Peyton Barber, no longer there. I think he's with the Washington Redskins, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
That might be right. Make the roster. For some reason, he lost a lot of work to Peyton last year. Jones saw just 37% of the snaps and 47% of the design runs. But I don't get it. I mean, Ronald Jones averaged 5.09 yards per touch compared to Barber's 3.44 yards per touch. Yet Jones only received 33 more touches. Yeah. So it was one of those things where Peyton was on the field more.
It's because his last name's Jones and he's a running back, right? Because wasn't it free Aaron Jones? Wasn't that the
thing?
The battle cry for the longest time? So should we start free Ronald Jones?
Pretty much. Yeah. I think so. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Hashtag free Aaron or free. I was trying to say Aaron Jones again. Free Ronald Jones. The second, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
So, according to Next Gen Stats, it's just some other things that really hammer it home for why I think he's going to be a sleeper and why I think he's going to outperform his ADP. He had the 4th lowest amount of time behind the line of scrimmage last year at 2.63 seconds. May not think that might be something really big in kind of the fantasy world, but that means the guy's getting the ball and he's going.
Well, not only that, but he gets there before it has a chance to even remotely close back up, which is an extremely important thing in a one cut and run offense. So
absolutely. And then another thing to go like piggyback on that is he also finished 4th at break tackle percentage. So he broke a tackle at every 7.5 carries. That's pretty dang impressive.
I imagine though for Tampa Bay he probably had to.
Well, he had to, and he was doing it. And for a guy that he came into the league not that big, I think he's 5'10", 195, 205 pounds, right around there. Yeah. He definitely could. He's added weight last year, and all the rumors saying he's added more weight this time. So there's another guy there. There's a new QB. Hashtag Twommy. Hashtag immunity pills.
Never heard of him.
So, I mean, like every time – the Patriots running backs have always performed under Tom Brady, or I should say Bill Belichick, but it's always been inconsistent on who that running back is.
I think that's more Belichick than it was ever Brady. But
exactly. So I think that could be a difference here. Tom, he wants a player that can catch the ball out of the backfield, but he also wants a player that can pass block. He doesn't want to get his blown up. Yeah. And that's something Ronald Jones has improved in both of those this last year. So he'll probably trust a veteran, Tom will, compared to a rookie. And that's my next thing is competition. Keyshawn Vaughn is there, 3rd round pick. Yeah. I can't even say his last name. Ogunbowale?
Oh, Dare Ogunbowale.
Yeah, I was close then.
Yeah.
But here's something
He's primarily a gadgety type of like pass catching back who mostly should be in the slot, I bet.
Yep. No,
So,
and to go back on Keyshawn,
mhm.
from what I saw in Arizona, Arians is not a big fan of rookie running backs.
No,
I mean,
he's not. It's not just there. It's every stop.
yeah,
Like when he has a vet and he has a rookie running back, that rookie running back is buried. Like everybody looks at him and says, "This guy's going to be great," and then he doesn't get any snap percentage. Like nothing to
right.
be concerned with, right?
For
So
reference,
a lot of people are really, really high on Keshawn Vaughn. I mean, he was somebody I looked at as a possible sleeper. I had him in
yeah,
notes from forever ago. And then when I started digging in, I was like, no, this is Ronald Jones' job. I think that people are overcomplicating it. Apparently,
yeah.
that's overly complicated for me to say.
Words are hard.
Words that the kid can't talk too good. Yeah. So like I don't see it. I think it's Ronald
Yeah,
Jones's job, and I think you're right. He's a sleeper because he's an RB1 who's probably going to see a pretty good amount of opportunity.
I think he's going to get a lot of snap share. He's going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback on the Bruce Arians not liking rookies, David Johnson's rookie year, which was 2015, he didn't really receive any kind of like real work until week 12.
Yeah.
Granted, he took off whenever that happened, but I believe David Johnson was a third round pick or third, fourth, or fifth, somewhere around that same kind of
Yeah.
area. You mentioned Dare, like he had some buzz coming into last season,
Yeah, a little
but
bit.
he saw just 46 touches. I ended up picking him as the last pick in my draft. Just one of those dart throws. You just never know.
Yeah.
Like you said, decent pass catching running back, but he mostly contributes on special teams. Here's
You also
another.
had you also had a bigger question about what was coming in through the door with Ronald Jones still at that point. Now you have a
Yeah.
better idea of what to expect
Yep.
out of Ronald Jones. So you don't have to question whether or not Ronald Jones is going to cede carries or touches to Dario Gumbawale, right? That's no longer a question.
Yep.
And I think that Keshawn Vaughn shouldn't be a question either. I just don't.
Yeah. This was another kind of funny one was when it comes to veteran / rookie, you think of age. Ronald Jones is only going to be 23, and this is
That's
going to be his third
insane.
year. And this is even better. Ronald Jones is 3 months younger than Keyshawn Vaughn. A little
amazing.
nugget for you. Just a
There you go.
little nugget that we give you here on the upside. I just like, what? Ooh. That's what I got on Ronald Jones. That's why I think he's going to be a sleeper, man. That's why I have him as running back 29, third pick in the 5th round. I'm going to target there. You know, if you do that, you're picking him as an RB3 that could potentially put up some really good numbers for you in a Tom Brady offense or Bruce Arians offense.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick, a great selection because it's a guy who has a proven success in his past, and for whatever reason, people have decided that they're not going to pay attention to him.
Well, yeah, he was proven at USC. Like he was dominant at USC. Then he came in and just completely dropped the ball. And he would say it to you right to his face. Like he said it out loud. Like, I did not know how to be a pro.
Yeah.
Granted, you give a guy millions of dollars a 2nd-round pick and he's 20 years old. What do you think could happen?
Yeah. Well, it's
And
also Tampa Bay.
that.
I mean, Tampa Bay as an organization has a history of just all kinds of stuff. They're the ones who had the whole staph infection thing going on in their opposing locker room and in their own locker room. And up until like the early 2000s or something, their practice football field was right next to the airport. And they actually in their locker room had vending machines that the players had to pay to use. Like, this is not a very well run organization historically.
That's some Moneyball stuff. That's some Brad Pitt asking for
it's Billy Bean
machines to be paid for.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but like players want out of there. Like historically, they wanted out. Like it was not a good situation. That started to change though when they started on their Super Bowl run with Warren Sapp and what was his name, the QB. God, the one everybody says, well, if he can win a Super Bowl,
Brad Johnson.
Yeah, I think so. Then it's like, well, if he can win a Super Bowl, then obviously Kirk Cousins could.
Oh, man.
Sorry, I had to get that dig in.
You
right?
do, man. Dang.
Yeah.
You love that division.
Hey, You know what? There's a reason that team wears purple. It's the color of choking.
Jesus. Good
Sorry, Vikings fans, but you guys are the ones who tell me those jokes. So
there goes the subscribers that we had that are Vikings fans.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't
who
know.
do you have,
Probably
Kyle?
not getting
Let's
too
try to
many
get
of them with that.
yeah, let's try to get a segue
All
here
right,
into something.
let's segue in. Speaking of Philadelphia, I have no idea. We're
Speaking of brotherly love,
yeah. Yeah. Speaking of caring about other people and their feelings, Philadelphia, Boston Scott. That's a sleeper
Hey.
I've got. Okay, so hear me out.
Hey.
So look, Fantasy Pros has him as RB56 right now, and he's not being drafted on Fantasy Football Calculator. He does not have an ADP over on Fantasy Football
What?
Calculator. Yeah, Boston Scott, right? And you've talked about him a couple times. I know that you like him. I like him. I liked Miles Sanders last year. I had him on a couple teams, and he paid off for me. But what I will say is that once Jordan Howard got out of the picture, it wasn't just Miles Sanders who experienced some success. It was also Boston Scott, right?
Yep.
So if you look at the last 4 games of the season, they both were just around 80 points even. So now part of that is that they sat Miles Sanders in this week 17 game. And I have the numbers here. I think he got like 9 carries and 3 targets. Yeah, 9 carries and 3
Boston
targets.
Scott just blew that you know what up.
Yeah. And well, but Boston Scott also put numbers up against San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, so this, it's
real
not,
numbers.
like he put up some real numbers against San Francisco. And last year, that's nothing to be shy about, right?
Oh.
So look, this is the second best offensive line in the league. The only line that grades better than them is the Colts. There you go. And so, like, look, they've got an upper half schedule for fantasy points based on allowed to the running back based on last year's numbers for the teams that they're facing this year. So they've got an upper half schedule that's a favorable schedule. They've got the second best offensive line. And then what? They ran the 7th most plays last year. Like, not like they didn't run the 7th most total plays. They ran running plays the 7th most. Right. So there's a lot of opportunity in that offense. And that was primarily due to the fact that they didn't have wide receivers on that team last year. They just had pylons.
I mean, there was warm bodies at wide receiver.
They were tackling dummies.
Tackling few.
Basically. Yeah. But you know what? They did go out and draft was it Jalen Reagor, right?
Yeah, Jalen Reagor.
Yeah. They did draft him, and they're already talking about how he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on that team. A rookie right off the bat is going to be wide receiver 1 potentially. I mean,
well, you draft a rookie wide receiver in the first round, and you got 2 guys that they're at the twilight of their career wide receiver.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if that's the best you've got, then that means you're relying on other aspects of your offense.
Yeah, you're not really scaring too many people with the wide receivers on the outside.
Yeah. So then you toss in that, okay, so they're going to run a bunch probably. You can predict that based on the fact that they have not improved that wide receiver group significantly enough to suggest that this is going to be a pass-first offense. It's not. It's still going to be a run-first offense, and they have not added a veteran running back to that team.
Nope.
Okay, so they've got Miles Sanders, and everybody's been paying attention to whether or not, Carlos Hyde might go there, or this guy might go there.
Yeah, a lot of rumors.
A lot of rumors. Nothing's panned out. And the reason nothing has panned out is because those last 4 weeks of that season, they realized we don't need anybody to pan out. We have a third-year guy in Boston Scott who's going to get at least 30% of the carries, probably. And if you're getting 30% of the carries in a run-first offense that's running the 7th most running plays in the league, with the second best line in the league and a favorable running back schedule, yeah, that's worth something, right? This is RB56. This is a guy who's like an RB5, not even a flex consideration according to what's happening in drafting right now on looking at multiple sites, So that's a really, really big sleeper. He's an RB2 possibly. And you could get him probably second or third to last pick of the draft for yourself. That's great.
Yeah.
He's look, he's gonna be a backup, but he's more of a change of pace back. I think you're gonna see series splits, just like they
Yeah.
did with Jordan Howard and
Yep.
Miles Sanders. And I think it's gonna be Boston Scott and Miles Sanders.
Absolutely.
And he's a dominant runner. Like, this dude is not a small guy. He hits. Like, he hits hard. So look, and this is the thing that throws it over the top for me, is that if Miles Sanders gets hurt, this dude's a golden ticket,
Oh, this
right?
is
So
RB1. Like he vaults
pays,
into
but he's
that
already
low in
paying,
RB1, high
but he's
in
already paying
RB2.
for the draft capital, right? He's already paying you back. This is a
Yeah.
guy potentially that you're going to be able to start in a flex spot at least, right? And you've drafted him as an RB5, RB6, and you get to turn around and potentially slot that guy in as an RB1 weekly if Sanders goes down for any reason.
Dude, this
That's
guy's
phenomenal.
a freaking bowling ball. I just
Yeah, he
looked up
is.
his stats. 5'7", 5'6", 203 pounds.
Yeah, it's like
That's
Anthony
a
McFarland Jr., dude.
that's like a
It's
bowling
insane.
ball of
Yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
All right, well, let's keep it moving here. Let's keep the pace up. What do you got
Yep.
on your second running back sleeper?
well, you're just kind of talking about Philadelphia, and I'm going to talk about the guy that just came from Philadelphia, and that's Jordan Howard.
Yeah,
Miami Dolphins might be a little bit of a homer pick. I'm
yeah.
an IU grad, but let me tell you a little bit more about it, Kyle. So, fantasy football calculator ADP
Come in close,
RB
children.
45. Do what?
Come in close, children. Let me
Yeah.
tell you more about the story of Jordan
here.
Howard.
Come here.
And how the Bears ruined him.
Let Uncle Justin talk to you about Mr. Jordan Howard. Let
Yeah.
me talk to you. So he's going 6th pick in the 10th round, Kyle. And my personal rank is RB32, second pick in the 6th round. So that's pretty steep compared. So first year with Miami, just mentioned that. He signed a 2-year, $10 million deal. That's a pretty good chunk of change for a running back. And the Dolphins, they're going to need to rely on that running game because that passing offense is pretty uncertain. You have Fitzmagic doing his thing.
Yeah.
He likes to throw the ball. He's like one throw away from exploding. Or I should say
Maybe.
2 or 3 more throws that he's throwing 3 or 4 more picks. I think you just don't know when Tua is going to be ready. He may not be ready this year at all. So it's hard to kind of count on that. And it's still a rookie quarterback, even though he's coming in with some good praise. So weeks 1 through 9 of last year with Philadelphia, he was a 13th ranked running back in standard scoring. 1 through 9. It's a decent little chunk of change.
Mm-hmm.
He suffered a shoulder stinger in that week 9 game, and he ended up missing the rest of the season. So that's what kind of stings about him is he does come with a little concern about the injuries. He's been banged up here or there with Chicago, with Philadelphia as well. So
if you run the ball like 500 times in one season,
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to
gonna
come
wear
back
you
and
down.
get you.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of running so much, his first 4 years, he had 3,895 rushing yards, first 4 years. Only other 2 guys ahead of him in that same time frame, same years, Zeke Elliott and Todd Gurley. Pretty good company to be right around there.
It's all right.
It's okay. I mean, so Jordan Howard's coming down to Miami. He's going to be that goal line and short yard work type back. He's going to be a first and second down type back. He handled 8 goal line carries in 9 games last year. I mean, just to compare, Miles Sanders had 6 in 16 games in Philadelphia at goal line.
Mm-hmm.
So not only did Miles Sanders play in 16 games and had 6 goal line carries, Jordan Howard had 8 in 9 games.
Yeah, but they were using Miles Sanders as a pass catching back mostly. That was the problem with him last year. They weren't giving him carries so much. So that's why they were doing that. They were gadgeting him in the red zone.
And I believe that's going to happen the same.
No, because once Howard was off, it was not that way.
Well, he still only had 6.
Yeah. But
anyways,
6 in like the second half. So
yeah. Anyways, he also finished 21st in first downs game per game, and that's 3.11 per game. If you're worried about Jordan Howard burst, I mean, 6 foot 230. He was number 8 in breakaway run rate. So his percentage of carries that went 15 yards or more was 5.9% of qualified carries. That's a pretty good number for a guy that most people don't think about bursting or going for distance So 5.9% of his carries went for 15 yards or more. So we're trying to get into you mentioned Miles Sanders. Well, they have another guy. The Dolphins traded for Matt Breida.
Yeah.
He's traded for a 5th-round pick. That's pretty good value, I think, for Matt Breida, even though I don't know if he would have made the final roster with 49ers, but you still
Maybe
get some
not
value.
this year.
Yeah, you got some good value. I mean, he very similar to kind of Jordan Howard. He's struggled with health. Matt Breida has. He's always been kind of banged up, and he's not a guy that can carry the full load of like what Miles Sanders could. So it's like kind of apples and oranges to compare the same. I mean, so Breida's had health concerns, frame concerns, and that's about it when it comes to competition, in my opinion. I mean, Kalen Ballage, people were really hoping he would be a guy. Really hoping.
Didn't he set the
He had like the lowest run,
he
like
set the
yards per carry
Sisyphean score record for
Oh,
effort
that's the
effort
record you
expended
want right
and
there.
and lowest number result ever.
Yeah.
It was something terrible. It was like you should just call it Kalen Ballaging instead of Sisyphean.
He's like
Sisyphean?
he's the Mendoza line for football.
I don't know. He stayed on the team. Like
He's still on the team.
Yeah.
But I just, like I kind of mentioned before, they paid Howard. He's being paid as the 14th highest running back in the league. They're gonna run him. They're gonna want to get some value out of him.
Yeah.
And then age. He's still super young. Yes, he's got some miles on him after what the
got
Bears
running.
did to him.
Yeah. He's
But
got some. He's got some mileage.
This is his 5th year. He's still going to be 25 for most of the season.
Yeah.
That's what's nuts.
Hmm.
That's what I got on Jordan Howard. This isn't really one that a lot of people are going to like, but I just think there's volume there that could very much justify, especially where he's going now as 6th pick in the 10th round. Once you get to those double digits, you're kind of doing some dart throws and you're looking for volume, and this guy can get you some volume, I think.
Yeah. And the hope, I think, for anybody who's picking him is that when the offense stalls out for Miami, which it often does on their passing game, like last year they were either like 3 plays, they got a TD, or they just 3 plays and they were punting. They didn't do much beyond that. So I think that most people who are going to draft him are hoping that now there's an actual running game, that it isn't just the offensive line's fault, that it was Kalen Ballage's fault that it was so bad.
Kalen Ballage's.
Yeah.
Ballaging.
Yeah, Ballaging. Yeah, because that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. So
if you want to see a guy just run right into the back of a lineman that's not Mark Sanchez.
Butt fumble.
Yeah.
It was recently the 7th anniversary of the butt fumble.
Oh,
I got some notification for it, and I was like, why am I getting this notification? Well, this is weird.
When did I sign up for butt fumble tags?
Butt fumble anniversary. Did somebody sign me up for the butt fumble anniversary and not tell me?
Dan?
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on here. Here we go. Our last running back sleeper.
Yes.
Again, these things might change, and this is one that I think both of us are kind of on board that he's a sleeper now, but only because people haven't figured out that he shouldn't be a sleeper. And that's Zach Moss in Buffalo.
Yes.
He's right now on Fantasy Pros, he's running back 42. Fantasy Football Calculator has him going on as running back 53, 9th pick of the 13th round. And yeah. Now, look, I do have some trepidation with him, and it has less to do with him than it does with the scenario. And I've preached before that situation is really, really important. And for anybody that's paying attention right now who's a dynasty player or a developmental league player,
right?
This is a guy you want to stash and wait and see what happens more than anything. For the redraft people, I think you're just going to have to bank on it or bet on it. And what's the cost? The back end of the 13th round pick, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's a really low cost. It's somebody that you were planning on sitting on your bench no matter what anyway, probably. And if you get value out of that guy, great. You're going to get value out of this guy. Look, my concerns here are that, he's got an upper half offensive line. So it's not like a top tier talent. It could escalate. It could get better. They've tried to improve that line because they want to, protect their quarterback a little bit. But this is not a great schedule based on last year's numbers.
Yeah.
last year, the teams that they're facing this year, the teams last year were a bottom half 2019 fantasy points per game allowed to the running back. So it's not a great scenario unless there's some changes there. So there is some caution, and you should be aware of that. But this guy's stepping right into the shoes that Frank Gore has now stepped out of. And so that means that you're going to probably get around 12 carries a game. That's not terrible. It's not the best. It doesn't make him a bell cow, but a lot of players have done a lot with 12 carries a game. I remember last year, Aaron Jones was averaging 14.
Yeah.
And now that's a little bit different scenario, right?
Right.
But still, you can do a lot with just 12 carries a game. And he was getting first and second down. And he was getting some goal line work, right? So what they have now come out and said is that they see Singletary turning into that change of pace back, being the pass catching back, getting the third downs, and that sort of stuff. I think you're going to see split series. You're not going to see like, you're in on first and second, he's coming in on third. I think you're going to see a lot of like, well, we're in between the 20s, so let's let one guy run for a while, and then we'll bring in the fresh legs when we'll bring in the fresh legs when we need to punch this ball in from the 20 out, that kind of thing. But look, he's not the fastest running back either. Like, he's not. But go watch tape on him, all right? And he makes guys miss, and he loves to lower his shoulder right into the chest of linebackers in the middle of defenses. And
see, that kind of sounds like Singletary as well. Like, time, speed, Singletary is not the fastest, but this isn't a freaking track meet. This is a football game.
Well, this guy's lateral ability.
And look at Zach Moss. Yeah, you look at him and they can juke you, they can move you, and in Zach Moss's case, they just plow right through you.
Yeah, he'll plow right through you. Yeah. I mean, the thing is what keeps people on their toes with him is that he could lower his shoulder on you, or he could sidestep you. Like, his lateral ability is amazing, actually, for a guy his size. And so I think it's phenomenal. And if anything happens, again, we're looking again at how can a pretty good situation get better?
Yeah.
It's not great to say, okay, if Singletary goes down, right? You don't want a player to get hurt ever. But if he does, Moss immediately steps in as a starter for you.
He's like a top 20 play probably at that point.
Probably. He's in your lineup, either in a flex or potentially an RB2 spot.
Yeah.
Right. So look, in the meantime, you're going
to get a little standalone value.
Yeah, you're going to get some standalone value because he's getting first and second down probably.
Yeah.
Look, you could probably imagine that a floor for production for him is going to allow you to start him in flex spots, and early on you're going to be able to play matchups probably based on that.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a ceiling with him that could be a blow up. It's entirely possible that he's getting the goal line work. He's going to get 12 plus carries a game probably. Yeah. And if he's got a hot hand going, he could just get left in. Like, it's entirely possible that they could put both of them on the field at the same time.
It is definitely possible. I mean, it's one of those things where, like you said, they've come out publicly and said that Zach Moss is moving right into that Frank Gore spot.
Yeah.
And you mentioned him. I mean, the Frank Gore averaged like 12 and a half carries, before he got hurt. And I think it was like week 12 or something like that. That's a decent amount of carries for an RB2 on a team. But like you just said, too, like Devin Singletary is there. Well, Devin Singletary was banged up as well.
Yeah.
He's not a big guy either. He's 5'7", 200 pounds. I mean, he's built strong, especially at 200 pounds at 5'7", but he was banged up a little bit last year.
Yeah.
So it's another one of those dart throws you don't wish anything would happen to. Devin Singletary going into the real draft, he was really like high on people's rankings as an RB2, start him and forget it type thing. Well, this just muddles everything. And I don't know, Zach Moss is going to be taking a lot of shares away from Devin Singletary this year.
I think so too. I think a lot of people were excited going in from last year to this year with Singletary. And I think
one of them.
Yeah, and I think this muddies it a lot. I'm not a huge fan of that schedule, but at the same time, like, if you can get a guy late in the draft who's going to provide value for you, and look, he's not going to get nothing.
Right.
So even with a really terrible schedule, if Singletary goes down and he's the guy, he's not going to get nothing for you. He's not going to put up zeros on you. Like, you can have that faith. And if you've got a bench spot, you can hold him, right?
Yeah.
So,
another thing that could kind of help in the favor, you're talking about him doing a lot more goal line work. Josh Allen had a ridiculous amount of goal line carries. He had 9 rushing touchdowns.
They weren't intentional.
That can't happen again. I don't think that'll happen again.
Well, those weren't called plays for the most
repeat.
part.
Right. That is hard to repeat. I don't think that will. And I think that's someone like a Zach Moss or Singletary is going to slide in to get that goal line working. From what it sounds like, it's Zach Moss.
Yeah.
Take us home, Kyle.
All right. So that's our running back sleepers for now. Those are probably going to change. We'll see how it goes. We'll update you guys. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've still got another roughly month and a half before the season starts, maybe a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So a lot's going to change between now and then, guys. So keep your eyes peeled for us to make those updates. You've been watching us here on YouTube, and we're at the Fantasy Football Upside, or you have been listening to us on one of our podcasts. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and our newest one is iHeartRadio. You can go and communicate with us over on Twitter. We'll talk with you guys. You can catch us. We've got a couple different accounts. We've got at FFB_upside. Justin is JW_the upside. I am at Kyle_the upside. And we're fairly active over on Twitter. We actually just got into an experts league, right?
Yes.
It's a 12-team league. There's a bunch of dynasty guys, looks like, that are hopping in there. So hopefully we can take advantage of their drafting, leaning towards dynasty style picking.
Right.
It's like, why is Juju still available in the 12th round? This is weird. Yeah. So you can catch us over on Twitter. You can catch us on Facebook. We've actually had a few people catch us over there. We're at FFB Upside. There's no underscore. Right. Or you can search for the Fantasy Football Upside. You can also reach us right now at Gmail. So we are the Fantasy Football Upside at gmail.com. Like I mentioned before, we've got all the podcasts available. When you get over there, make sure you subscribe or set it up so that it's automatically downloaded, and give us 5-star ratings. We would really appreciate that. Yeah. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube stuff and hit that bell so that you get notified, and make sure you hit the like button as well. But make sure you hit that bell so that you're notified every time that we upload the best fantasy football podcast on the entire internet.
Thank you, recent subscribers. Thank you, recent subscribers.
Yeah, all of you. So it's been fun. Thanks for being a fan of the Upside. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.
See ya.
Bye.